Most of the time, a private marital dispute, well, it stays private. But back in 1994, one couple's conflict went way, way off the rails. It spiraled into a crime so serious that it forced India's Supreme Court to draw a line in the sand, a line that, believe it or not, still defines the law today. It all boils down to one simple but really profound question. What actually happens when you lie to the highest court in the land? I mean, not just a little white lie, but a deliberate fabrication. This case, it gives us a really clear and honestly a pretty stark answer to that question. So where did this all begin? You might be surprised. It wasn't some huge corporate scandal. It started with something pretty ordinary, actually. A matrimonial dispute between a husband and wife, Chandra Shashi and Anil Kumar Verma. But what began as a private family matter, well, it was about to become a major public test of the entire justice system's integrity. Okay, so it all kicked off with a pretty standard legal request. Chandra Shashi, the wife, she wanted to transfer their divorce proceedings from the big city, Delhi, back to her hometown of Unnao. Seems reasonable, right? Just a common motion you see all the time. But this one little request, it was the first domino in a chain of events that absolutely nobody saw coming. Now, her husband, Anil Kumar Verma, was not having it. He wanted to block that transfer. To convince the court to keep the case in Delhi, he had to prove that his life was firmly planted there. His job, his home, the whole deal. And this is where his strategy took a very, very wrong turn. So, to make his case, Anil Kumar submitted some evidence to the Supreme Court. But here's the thing. One key document, the centerpiece of his argument, wasn't what it appeared to be. And this one piece of paper was about to blow the whole case wide open. What was it? He filed something called an experience certificate. It was supposed to be from a college, and it was meant to prove his professional ties. This was his smoking gun, his trump card. But, the Supreme Court, they don't just take things at face value. They decided to take a closer look. And what they found was, wow. In the court's own, very blunt words, the certificate was completely fabricated and forged. A total fake. Now, this is a critical moment. Think about it. The court could have just tossed out the evidence, scolded the lawyer, and moved on with the divorce case. But they didn't. They saw this lie for what it was, a direct attack on the integrity of the judicial process itself. That discovery of the fake certificate changed everything. Suddenly, this wasn't just a private dispute between a husband and wife anymore. Oh no. The Supreme Court decided this was now an offense against the court, and by extension, against the entire system of justice. And the court acted suo motu. It's a Latin legal term, and it basically means on its own motion. This is so important. It means nobody had to file a complaint. Chandra Shashi didn't have to say, hey, he lied. The court itself, acting as its own guardian, decided to go after him for this lie. And just like that, the Supreme Court kicked off contempt of court proceedings against Anil Kumar. That original divorce transfer case, it pretty much became a sideshow. The main event was now the Supreme Court holding someone accountable for committing what is basically the ultimate legal sin, trying to fool the highest court in the land. So what exactly is this charge, criminal contempt? It sounds serious, and trust me, it is. The court had to figure out if what Anil Kumar did actually fit the legal definition. Under India's Contempt of Courts Act, it's defined pretty broadly. We're talking about anything that scandalizes the court, messes with a case, or, and this is the key one here, obstructs the administration of justice. So how does the court make the call? Well, the law basically lays out 3 tests. An act counts as criminal contempt if it, 1, scandalizes the court, 2, interferes with a proceeding, or 3, and this is a direct hit for Anil Kumar, it obstructs the administration of justice in any other way. By knowingly handing in a fake document, he was actively trying to pollute the whole process. All right, so Anil Kumar is in hot water. What's his defense? He tried 2 main arguments. First, his lawyer tried to get technical, saying that just filing a document isn't the same as publishing it under the law. The court was like, nope, not buying it. When you give it to us, it's published. Then he tried a different tactic, an unconditional apology. But the court saw right through that too. They basically said, you're not sorry you did it, you're just sorry you got caught. Okay, so let's recap. The arguments have been made, the lie has been totally exposed, the so-called apology has been thrown out, the stage is now set for the Supreme Court to deliver its verdict, and, more importantly, to to send a message, a really, really clear message. So, this is it, the moment of truth. The lie is out in the open. The excuses didn't work. What does the highest court in the country do now? I mean, how do you punish someone for an act that tries to poison the very foundation of justice? Well, the verdict came down, and it was swift and decisive. Anil Kumar Verma was found guilty. Guilty of criminal contempt of court. No question about it. And the sentence? Look, the court could have just given him a fine and called it a day, but they wanted to send that message we talked about. So they did something more. They sentenced Anil Kumar Verma to 2 weeks of simple imprisonment. 2 weeks in jail. That's a powerful statement, right? It says lying to the Supreme Court isn't just a minor error, it's an offense that can literally cost you your freedom. And you can really see their reasoning in the court's own words from the judgment. They said anyone who uses fraud to deflect the course of judicial proceedings has to be properly dealt with to deter others. It's right there in black and white. This wasn't just about punishing one guy. It was about sending a warning shot to anyone else who might even think about trying something similar. The message was clear. Don't even try it. All right, so a guy lies. He goes to jail for 2 weeks. Why are we still talking about a case from 1994? Because its impact, its legacy is absolutely huge. This judgment wasn't just some forgotten ruling. It became a cornerstone of Indian law when it comes to the integrity of the courts. I mean, just look at the timeline. You can see the ripple effects for decades. This case, Chandra Shashi, became the go-to precedent. Fast forward to 2008, it's cited in a case to punish people who don't approach the court with clean hands. Jump all the way to 2023, and its principles are being brought up again. And even this year, in 2024, courts are still referencing it as a prime example of someone trying to pollute the stream of justice. It just keeps coming up. So when you boil it all down, this one case really cemented 4 key principles into law. Number 1, filing a forged document isn't just a procedural oopsie, it's criminal contempt. 2, an apology has to be real. A tactical sorry just won't cut it. 3, contempt jurisdiction isn't just about punishment, it's about deterrence. And maybe most importantly, number 4, all of this is done to maintain public confidence in the whole system. And that brings us to the powerful metaphor the court used, which really sums it all up. They described the administration of justice as a stream that has to remain unpolluted. Because, as they said, the purity of that stream gives life and strength to the whole system. What Anil Kumar Verma did was try to pollute that stream. And this case was the court making it crystal clear that they will always, always protect the water.